Hello, today I am going to tell you about keys in relational model. First of all, what is a key? A minimal set of attributes which can uniquely identify the tuples in a relation are said to be key attribute or simply key. A key should satisfy some conditions like uniqueness, not null. Uniqueness means it should not be duplicated. Not null is it should not be an empty value. There should be some value. It should not be an unknown value. There are different types of keys: super key, candidate key, primary key, alternate key, artificial key, composite key, and foreign key. We'll see one by one each one of them. Here I am taking an example of a school election for explaining the super key, candidate key, primary key, and alternate key. All the students of 10th class can be seen in the outer circle. All students can be considered as super key. And there is a election for student leader. So all of the students of 10th class are eligible to participate in that election. But all may not participate. Only some of them may stand for the election or contest for the election. So that can be seen in this pink circle. Some students are participating in the election who can be taken as candidate keys, or in our example, contestants. Now when the election is conducted, only one of them will be elected as leader. So this is equivalent to a primary key. So here I am showing you the difference of what is the difference between the super key, candidate key, and primary key. So all the students are super keys. Some of them stand for election. They are the candidate keys, and one of them gets selected as the leader. This is a primary key. Now, after the selection of primary key, some candidates will be left out because all cannot be selected. So the left out ones are called as alternate keys. They are equivalently good like the primary key, but they are not selected as the primary key. But in case this key doesn't work as primary key, the alternate keys can be used as primary keys. Now from an example from DBMS, suppose there is a relation EMP with fields EMP ID, name, and address. Now what all can be the super keys? Super keys will be all those combination of attributes which can do unique identification. So EMP ID is suitable as a super key because it can identify the tuples uniquely. EMP ID and ename combination can also be used as a super key. Ename and address can be used as super key. EMP ID and address can also be used as super key. Now next comes candidate key. Minimal of super key is called as candidate key. Minimal of super key means the attributes, the minimum attribute which is capable of doing unique identification, that will be taken as the candidate key. So EMP ID cannot be further divided into anything else, so it is a candidate key. EMP ID and ename, in this combination EMP ID alone is sufficient, so this cannot be a candidate key. In the last one, EMP ID and address also, EMP ID is sufficient, so this also is not a candidate key. But here in ename and address, alone ename cannot do unique identification. Same way, address alone cannot do unique identification. So a combination is necessary. So this is minimal here. So these two are the candidate keys from the above. Now from these two, the database designer will be selecting one of the keys as the primary key. Now mostly a single attribute key will be selected as a primary key, and what is left out in the candidate key can be called as an alternate key. Composite key. When a single attribute cannot be used for unique identification, a combination of attributes is used as key. Such a key is called a composite key. Here you can see EMP ID and DID acts as a composite key. I'm showing here a relation dependent which has three fields: EMP ID, DID and DName. Suppose this is a dependent table for an employee table. Employee IDs are here and dependent IDs is there, as well as dependent names are there. So here we can see for an employee, maybe the employee has two dependents. So employee ID remains same, the dependent IDs are different and their names are different. But for unique identification, only one ID will not be enough. So it's a combination of EMP ID and DID which will be identifying the tuple. So EMP ID and DID acts as a composite key for this relation. Artificial key. There are some situations when a relation may not have any field or an attribute which can be selected as a key. So if a relation has no such attribute which can be used for unique identification, then an extra field can be introduced in the relation which takes some arbitrary values and has no relation with the other fields. Such a key is called as an artificial key. So here we can see a relation employee. It has fields like e-name, salary, designation, and as we can see here, two employees have same name. Their salaries are different, their designation is also same. So how to identify them as two different entities? So for that we need to, for unique identification, we are introducing a field by the name of ID, and these numbers are introduced in the table which distinguish the two entities with same name. Last is the foreign key. What is the concept of foreign key is? Foreign key is mostly used for establishing relationship between the two tables. Here we have two tables. One is an employee table and another is a department table. Employee table has its own primary key as EMP ID and department table has its primary key as department number. Now what is foreign key? Here the department number of department table is brought to EMP table where it acts as a foreign key. Now what is the need of this is for establishing relationship. One field should be common between the two tables. So when a primary key of a table is taken to another table, it becomes a foreign key. Now as a foreign key, it can have duplicate values as well as it can have null values also in case an employee is not assigned a department. So a foreign key is a primary key in one table and can be put in another table where it will act as a foreign key and it will be used for establishing relationship between the two tables. As a foreign key, it can have null values and duplicate values as well. Thank you.